In this video, I'm going to show you how to pull more weight on the pull-up bar. And as you can see, I only go up to 135 pounds added weight, and then I call it a day because when your central nervous system is so taxed, I don't recommend lifting very heavy. And all I mean by your central nervous system, your CNS, being taxed is feeling tired, fatigued. At this point, I was very hungry and tired at the same time. So I was just seeing how heavy I could go, and I like doing that as kind of like a baseline to see where I'm at. So the first method is going to take some trial and error, and that would be adding enough weight to the point where it doesn't feel challenging for the first 10 reps. I used to be at 10 pounds. I used to add 10 pounds, and for the first 10 reps, couldn't feel it. And then when I got to the 11th, 12th, 13th rep, I could start to feel like I was fatiguing faster. Now I'm at 25 pounds. That's my golden standard for 10 reps. I feel no different when I do a bodyweight pull-up versus doing 25 pounds added. This is just kind of like a plateau breaker. So I wouldn't do this all the time. This is just one of the good methods that I use in order to push that plateau, because technically I'm increasing my body weight by 25 pounds. But if the difficulty is not really changing, like for some people it could be 2.5 pounds, right? You're adding 2.5 pounds to your weight. Your body really isn't going to realize that difference for the first 10 or so reps. For this training method, I max out. Like I do as many reps as possible, because the goal is to push your limit as far as you can. So let's say you can do 20 bodyweight pull-ups, right? So we're at 20. Let's say we're hitting around, sometimes you might be able to hit 20. If you don't realize it for the first 10, 2.5 pounds isn't going to make that much of a difference. But if you're at 25 pounds, if you have 25 pounds on there, I wouldn't start that heavy. It'd take me a long time to get there for the first 10 reps, not feeling it. Let's say you're starting at 10 pounds and you get to 18 reps. Now, it's the difference between these two, right? This is body weight, this is weighted. But we didn't like overload ourselves so much. So now you can do 18 with 10 pounds on, because the last 8 reps are challenging. The first 10, not so challenging, the last 8. We're pushing our endurance and our strength and our stamina further forward than if we were to just max out at 20 reps. Now, even if you could do 15 with 10 pounds added, it's very similar. The difference between here and here is very similar. If you're only doing 10 reps with added weight, you're probably going a little too heavy and you should probably lower that weight. Hopefully this isn't confusing, but we're adding weight, we're maxing out, and I'm doing this for probably like 2 to 3 sets because maxing out sucks. But this has really helped me push my plateau, and not only number of reps, but also weight added, because I feel like having a little more load on your body over time, like that progressive overload over time, even if it doesn't necessarily feel that challenging in the beginning, it'll just help you, if not just mentally, to be like, oh, I'm taking the weight off, and now I feel a little bit lighter and I can do more reps. This takes a little while, but it's something to throw into your routine. The next thing would be finding your 1 rep max. I'm an advocate of 2 rep maxing because I feel like it's a little safer. But I do 1 rep max sometimes, especially when I'm feeling fatigued. But if I feel like I'm like not in like the most ideal state, I will probably avoid going for my 1 rep max. But you do want to have an idea roughly of what it is. So 1 rep max, 2 rep max, it might roughly be the same, might be a few pounds off. But for the sake of this method, 1 rep max, it's good to identify it. My 1 rep max right now is 180 pounds at 175 pounds body weight. The way, obviously, you need to warm up before getting into this. Again, climbing does that for me. But the way I am going to check my 1 rep max, I'm not just going to go straight into it. I'm going to do reps with a 45. It's nice that 180 is my max because I only need to count by 45s. So I will do 3 at 45. I'll do 2 to 3 at 90. I'll do 1 to 2 at 135. And then most likely I will attempt 180 for 1. This is how I would set it up. The rest is going to be whatever you need between sets in order to feel the most primed and ready. For me, I really don't rest that much. It's probably like no more than 2 minutes. It's kind of like my golden standard, no more than 2 minutes. After I hit this 1 rep max, I will reattempt 1 rep at this. So it's just a pyramid, right? We're going up the pyramid. I will attempt this twice, and then I will go back down the pyramid. So back down this way, all the way back down to 45, and then I will do body weight pull-ups at the end. Just to get as much out as I can. Plus, when you've done a pull-up, when you're testing your 1 rep max, going back down to body weight, you'll feel extremely strong and just super light. And so it's fun to mess around on the bar and maybe even try some things that like a front lever, whatever the case is, because this isn't gonna fatigue you that much. It's just gonna be like, priming a bunch of muscles that you probably aren't used to overloading that much. So yeah, you'll feel a lot lighter at the end. So that's usually what I do for my pyramid set to find my 1 rep max. And I also do this as a workout. I usually, if I'm doing this as a workout, I start with this. Start with this exact pyramid set, and then I go back down. And then I'll do a workout that actually is method 3. So I will go from this workout, the pyramid, up, down, into my pre-fatigue. And all pre-fatiguing is, if I draw a little stick figure over here, let's draw some muscles involved in a pull-up. We got some lats, we got some arm muscles, we got some grip strength, and then we got our core. So that's the primary baseline stuff in doing a pull-up. These are the primary movers for the most part. There's a bunch of small muscles that are involved. But let's talk about the primary movers. Pre-fatiguing is going to be eliminating one of those. Now, I highly recommend you don't eliminate grip strength. Reason being is because if you can't hold onto the bar, you really can't get a good workout in. So keep your grip as strong and as ready as possible. And the lats are very hard to isolate. So I've tried in the past doing just rows, but every time you're working out your back, you're actually bending your arm as well. So you're also fatiguing your arm. And in my experience, you don't get as much out of the workout as if you were to just pre-fatigue one muscle group, which is what I'm trying to point to here. Core, it's a supporting muscle group, so it's not really a prime mover, but I wanted to emphasize that it is used in a pull-up because a lot of people forget. Right here, this is your bicep, and there's another muscle that connects right here. It's the long muscle in your forearm that goes over your elbow, called the brachioradialis. Your bicep and your brachioradialis are the 2 muscles I would recommend pre-fatiguing and have offered me the most benefit in lock-off, 1-arm pull-ups, and increasing my 1 rep max and amount of reps that I do. The way you fatigue your biceps and your brachioradialis. So if I were to just do a bicep curl, mostly bicep, right? Completely supinated, my palm is in the air or towards the ceiling, and I'm curling like this. I'm trying to focus on my bicep. Sure, some forearm flexors are being used, but mostly like this is called a bicep curl because I'm using it to my bicep. Now, if I were to do a neutral curl, I'm using the side of my forearm, a little bit of my brachioradialis, and my bicep as well. So these are also very good. But if you want to hyper-focus the brachioradialis and the lower bicep, which is what I recommend you do, you cant your hand to about a 45-degree angle. So it's semi-pronated, and we're gonna do curls like that. And you can kind of let your wrist fall a little bit as you do it. We're gonna be doing curls like that, and we're gonna be pulling inwards. So it's not just lifting up and kind of levering that muscle up. We're going to be pulling inwards because that's allowing this brachioradialis to contract. Now, taken many people through this style of workout before, and it works out great. They're very sore for the next few days, and they come back with a lot more pulling power. Pre-fatiguing. So let's say, you could do it as simple as just doing some of those curls and then jumping on the bar, but if we were to set up a rep scheme, I would do an ascending pyramid and a descending pyramid. So we're gonna go up and we're gonna go down. Now, this side's gonna be body weight pull-ups, body weight pull-ups, and this one's gonna be brachioradialis curls. So on this side, we're gonna aim for 10, right? This is just how I would set it up for myself, and I do this workout all the time. On this side, we're gonna do 2. So As this goes up, we're going to cut the reps by 2. So this will be 8, 6, 4, 2, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Yeah, looks right. So these pair, right? These reps pair with each other. And what I mean by that is, as I do 10 bodyweight pull-ups as a primer, I'm going to jump off the bar and I'm going to grab onto the weights and I'm going to do those brachioradialis curls. Then I'm going to do 8 reps of bodyweight pull-ups. Rest is going to be whatever you want it to be. It's a question mark. All the way up. So whatever you need in order to rest. And try to do these sets unbroken, which means if I'm doing curls, I'm going to do all of my reps in one go. Sometimes I even have to put the weight down, and that's okay. But the goal would be to not put the weight down. And as we go up the chain, we are increasing our curls, but we're decreasing our pull-ups. So this gets a little easier, this gets way harder. And then at the end, we just flip it. Reverse. We're gonna go back down, and we're gonna go back down. So another set of this right here, 2 and 10. And then obviously 4 and 8, 6 and 6, 4 and 8, 2 and 10. That is what I usually do after my 1 rep max test or my heavier lift, because if you pre-fatigue before doing your max effort, it's not going to work out great. This right here is one of my favorite workouts, and it is a pre-fatigue method because we are pre-fatiguing before we do our bodyweight pull-ups. This is a compounding style of workout because the effect is going to get worse and worse, especially when you get down to this last rep scheme here. Usually I'm doing like 2 sets of 4 and 1 set of 2 to finish this off. But again, the goal is being to do it unbroken, but depending on what weight I pick, because I try to pick a challenging curl weight. For me, it's about 25 pounds for these brachioradialis curls. But depending on your skill level, that's going to be the biggest variable, the change in this. The other variables you could start with 8 and then 8 and go down by 1 rep. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can set it up however you want, but this is the method I use in order to increase my strength over time. These 3 things have gotten me from doing 0 pull-ups after I broke my wrist to back up to 200% my body weight. And it's been in a pretty safe manner. Haven't had any like serious stuff happen since then. I've had some injuries and tweaks here and there, but mostly that's from climbing and just battling my wrist, having a metal plate in it. But yeah, this was just, I wanted to break down how I structure my weighted workouts, and this is pretty much it. If you're just starting the video now, this is very confusing, but watch from the beginning, and hopefully you understand what I'm getting at with this. But I do hope that helps, and that adds a little transparency into the pull-up game.